This episode of Warp 5 is brought to you by Audible.com, offering more than 180,000 titles for smartphone, tablet, and desktop. To get a free audiobook of your choice and help Trek FM at the same time, visit audibletrial.com/trekfm. And also by Enterprise in Space, an international program of the non-profit National Space Society. Find out how you can help science and education and become a virtual crew member aboard the NSS Enterprise Orbiter by visiting enterpriseinspace.org. And if you want to join in on the conversation and share your thoughts on this episode or any other, please join the Babel Conference, our listeners group on Facebook. Just type Babel, that's B-A-B-E-L, into the Facebook search field. We look forward to seeing you there.
Hi, I'm Anthony Montgomery, Ensign Travis Mayweather on Star Trek Enterprise, and you're listening to Trek FM.
How we doing, Trip? Ready when you are. Prepare for warp.
Course laid in, sir. Request permission to get underway. Let's go.
Welcome, Boomers, to another episode of Warp 5. I'm your host, Brandon-Shea Mutala, and joining me, as always, is my ever-constant Mog, Patrick. How you doing?
What did you do?
What do you mean, what did I do?
What did you do?
I don't know, nothing.
You turned off the whole podcast.
I turned off the whole podcast.
Get it back.
We got the bleeps, the creeps, and the sweeps. We lost the bleeps, the creeps, and the sweeps.
I can't do any of those sound effects, by the way. Well, besides all that, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and we've got something special for you guys. You guys might be like, what the heck is going on? I thought you guys said that the last movie night was going to be the Court Jester, but we decided to do one more. And before we get into the movie night that we're doing...
As if they haven't figured it out.
As if they haven't figured it out. Okay, so it's been a running gag on Warp 5 that Patrick hasn't seen Spaceballs. So we decided to do one more movie night with Spaceballs. And the reason why we decided to do that is because this is going to be Patrick and my last episode of Warp 5 as hosts. So we've got one more episode coming up next time that we've got something special, but after that we're done. We're ending our run on Warp 5, and so we wanted to go out with something fun based on a reoccurring joke that we had. So that might come as like surprising and shocking news. But yeah, we're ending our run. I've been on since episode 93 or 92 was my first. 92 was my first one, and then 94 I became a regular. And you started back with episode 130, Patrick.
Yeah, so it's been a while, and unfortunately all good things come to an end.
Road,
this is
from there to here.
This is coming to an end, but we figured we'll
It's
leave
been
off.
a long time,
Oh, boy.
but my time is finally near. I can see the tears.
Well, now that no one's
on
listening
your
to this.
face. Patrick is crying, but I'm not gonna cry myself.
No more. So, yeah, so don't forget what I was saying. I don't even know what I was saying anymore.
We're talking about your episode 130.
Yeah, so I've been around for a while, and like I said, all good things come to an end, and unfortunately this is coming to an end, but we didn't want to... Unfortunately, our last episode I was unable to make it to, so we decided, let's give them one more, let's go out together, just you and me, we're going to do an episode, just us, and it's going to be something ridiculous, so it became Spaceballs.
And then we decided to do even one more. Yeah, we were going to end with episode 200, and then Patrick screwed it all up.
Yeah.
But, Patrick, he's been around, like the Village Bicycle. He's been around the block a couple times.
That's not right.
That's not right. And yeah, so I don't know. Do we want to take a little retrospective before we get into our movie watch here?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Awesome. What do you want to say about Warp 5, Patrick?
I don't know. I really enjoyed my time here. I like talking Enterprise. I like the different avenues we went down, like the movie nights, which is a different take on talking about the show because we don't talk directly about Star Trek on those. Writing our own episodes were always fun. And really, I was just, we had a lot of fun doing these episodes over the last year and a half or so. And I got a new appreciation for watching the shows now that I've watched them with much more critical eye, and that's really all I have to say about the last year and a half. I mean, I've said it on other podcasts leading up to this, but I'm really glad that you and I got to host this show for as long as we did, and now we're moving on to other things.
So when we started the show, I believe you'd said that Enterprise was your favorite Star Trek series. Was that correct?
Yes, it is.
Is it still?
Yes.
Okay, good. So with some of the critical analysis that we've done on the season retrospectives and the episode retrospectives, what was your most interesting thing that you found?
I think the most interesting thing is I noticed a lot more character development watching it this way in individual episodes that I may not have picked up on just watching through the episodes. You know what I mean? Like, I had like a finer tooth comb in picking out the different scenes or little quirks that had happened that I didn't notice before.
Okay.
Some good, some bad.
So give me an example of each. Give me an example of a good and a bad that you found. Put you on the spot here.
I found out I really didn't hate what's it called as much until we had to watch it like 4 times.
Exile? Or
yeah.
not Exile.
No,
Extinction.
Yes. I never really liked the episode, but being forced to watch it 4 times, I really grew a disdain for it. But I did notice, and I could give you a one of each in that episode, because that episode was kind of just a episode for me before. I realized just how poorly driven that story was, because it really ties nothing in later or anything like that. Like, the guy never shows up again. They could have fixed a lot of that by just having him show up later in a series and helping them in some way. But I also noticed just how hard Hoshi and Archer were working to try and get this episode to be good.
Yeah. Which
I didn't notice in previous. It was just kind of and I wouldn't really pay attention.
Bacula and Linda Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like they were trying so hard to act good in such a bad episode.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. What else? Anything else really good that kind of stuck out for you?
Well, I think I did actually get. This is going to sound weird, but I did actually get a new appreciation for. And I know that was also a running gag where that episode doesn't exist. These are the Voyages. But I think by doing this, I realized I don't actually hate the episode as much as I hate the placement of the episode. That if that episode had come anywhere other than then, it wouldn't be my favorite episode, but it would have just been another episode, and I would have been all right with it.
Right. Cool.
What about you?
I think I gained a new appreciation for Enterprise. Like, it's still not my favorite Star Trek series. I mean, Deep Space Nine is still my favorite Star Trek series. Enterprise it's so tough because, I've been doing a rewatch of Next Generation with Aubrey, and like, that show is really damn good. And I've kind of always put it at the bottom of my list for favorites because I've seen it so much, I think. But so it's really hard after the original series in Deep Space Nine as to like what's next, because there's so much great Star Trek out there. I know it's at the bottom of my list, but I mean, as for the other ones that are in between, I don't know what order I'd even put them in, whether it's Enterprise, Voyager, or Next Generation, because I do enjoy them all, and I enjoy different things about them all. I love how Enterprise looks, and that leads into Discovery. Like, I like how they changed how Discovery looks and how modern they've made it. Like, I think that was the right choice, and I think it was the right choice with Enterprise. Like, I remember people complaining about how Enterprise looked when it first started. I wasn't as much into the social media thing. I guess social media wasn't even around then. But, I had a few friends and stuff, and I heard people grumbling that they didn't like how Enterprise looked. It looked like a submarine and things like this, and the LCD screens were too advanced. And I'm like, well, I don't know, what are you going to do, right? It's 2001 that we're making this show, so it's got to look that way. So I don't know, I've always liked that, but I guess I've gained a new appreciation for Enterprise, but that's more since I've been with Trek FM rather than being on this podcast, because, I watched Enterprise live, and I've said this before, and then I bought the DVDs and watched them all again once, and that was it. I'd only seen Enterprise twice. And, it wasn't until 2016 when we did our From There to Here rewatch for the network that I watched Enterprise again, and I'm like, this show's not that bad. It's still not my favorite Star Trek, but there's some really good stuff in here. There's some stinkers, but I mean, there's stinkers in all of the shows, right? And so it's more, I've gained an appreciation of the show since I've been with the network rather than being here on Warp 5. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed is I think I've had some wonderful discussions about this show, and it's not my favorite. I don't give it short shrift at all. I talk about it with all the passion that I would any of the other shows. And I've had a lot of fun talking about Warp 5 for the past 3 years, It's been about 3 years since I did that. It was the end of 2016 that I did that first commentary on Future Tense. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, I don't think there's anything really that I gained appreciation for more because I gained it so much with the rewatch.
Right. Yeah, see, I didn't watch these things over. I listened to all the rewatches, but I didn't. That's about the time I came into listening to the network. It was right at the 50th.
Yeah.
So but I didn't rewatch a lot of things. You make an interesting point though. Like, it's so hard to pick a favorite. There's so much goes into picking a favorite that has nothing to do with the show in reality. So, for instance, because that might not make sense to anyone, but the reason why this show will always be my favorite is it's a commentary on 9/11, which is an event I lived. Mm-hmm. A horrible event I lived, but it's an event I lived nonetheless. Now, every other show below this, if you ask me today, I'll rank them one way, and in a week from now, I'll rank them another. But the fact that ties so closely to something that I unfortunately lived, this will always just have that step over them. And people have made the argument, yeah, but the episodes in this series were better than... I understand that, but that one fact changes which one my favorite is. Otherwise, they'd all just be being ranked differently every week.
Right.
For me, Yeah.
See, with Deep Space Nine, it's interesting because when I first watched Deep Space Nine, I didn't like it. Like, I watched it live when I was a kid. I caught the first 6 seasons. I didn't have it for season 7, so I didn't catch season 7 for quite a while. But that didn't play in factor for it. I liked Deep Space Nine, but I liked Next Gen better, and I liked Voyager better during its initial run. But as I continue to watch Deep Space Nine, it's the series that grew on me the most, and the characters are really what grows on me. And I think Deep Space Nine has the best characters out of any Star Trek series, and that's what drives me to that show. What drives me to this show is seasons 3 and 4, and I loved how they were brave with season 3 and did the season-long arc, because I really like that style of storytelling. And with season 4, where they tried to broaden the canvas and touch on those original series elements, because TOS is my second favorite because of nostalgia, and that's really kind of what got me into Star Trek was TOS. So it's there. I mean, there's so many great episodes. I think I've said it recently that my favorite episode of Star Trek is a Voyager episode. It's Deadlock. I just love that episode. But that also changes from week to week, so I don't know. Right now it's Deadlock, and it's been Deadlock for a while, but...
so next week ask him again, and it'll be something different.
Next week ask me again, so...
But it's true. I mean, see, I didn't watch Deep Space Nine or Voyager on first run. I came back to Star Trek.
You're not a fan.
Yes, I am. Stop it. I watched Enterprise. It came out in 86. I was only 4. But, not Enterprise.
Next
Generation. And then I caught the end of Next Gen, the first 2 seasons of Deep Space Nine, but then I kind of fell out of watching Star Trek. Mm-hmm. And then I came back to it for Voyager's last season. talk about spoiling the whole show. So I saw how that ended before going back, watching all of Voyager, watching all of Deep Space Nine. But in the middle of trying to catch up on those, Enterprise came out. So that elongated how long it took me to watch those because I watched Enterprise on first run. So
Cool.
I don't know. I like Deep Space Nine a lot too. So
Yes. Yeah, Deep Space Nine's great. So, but I think it's great that Enterprise is your favorite, and I don't know like this fandom nowadays. I don't care what your favorite is. Like, but have whatever's your favorite. None of these Star Trek shows are as good as Mindhunter. Okay, like that show's just fantastic.
what? Huh?
Oh man, you got to watch Mindhunter on.
We
Netflix.
can't do this again, man. I just watched Spaceballs.
Oh man, you got to watch Mindhunter is so good. It is like captivating. I've been just finished season 2 today.
Is it a new show? Current show?
Yeah, it's only 2 seasons. Season 2 just came out like a week or two ago as of this recording, and I couldn't stop watching it. I am literally just completely captivated watching that show. It is so amazing.
What is that on?
It's the
Netflix,
original FBI profilers on serial killers.
No, I mean, is it like Netflix?
Oh, Netflix.
Hulu? Okay.
Netflix.
It's an FBI show.
Yeah, but
serial
it takes
killers?
place. The first season's in like 1977. Season 2 is in 1980. Season 2, I didn't realize again that this is before that was right when I was born. Season 2 takes place, and the story is the Atlanta child murders that happened in the early 80s.
Okay.
Which is a true story. I didn't realize while I was watching the show that it was a true story. So
was season 1 a true story too?
Yes. So yeah, like I knew that it's based on the original profilers and how they would interview serial killers and develop.
Oh, okay.
Profiles and stuff, right? So, yeah.
Oh, I'd probably love this show.
Oh, it's so good. David Fincher is a producer on it, and he directed 4 episodes from season 1 and 3 from season 2.
Oh, nice.
So, anywho, this is not the Fincher cast.
No, but I know what I'll be doing next.
Oh man, it's so good. You'll be hooked from the first episode. You'll be hooked. So,
nice.
Anyways, awesome. Anything else you want to talk about before we jump into our discussion on Spaceballs?
No, I think the listeners pretty much know my feelings on most of this stuff, right? So, yeah, I'm gonna miss doing Warp 5, but at the same time, I just want to do some other stuff.
Yeah, you got the Disney podcast coming, right?
Yep. And that's going to pick up really big on November 12th. So
yes,
when they're going to drop a ton of new content on us on their streaming service. So
Disney Plus. So that's going to be cool. And then the plan right now, tentatively, is you and I are going to talk about the Mandalorian every week while it's running there.
Yeah. So and then me and Chris are still going to do the movie deep dives every other while we're doing the Mandalorian. And I think Chris is going to join us with Mandalorian too. But.
So that's Chris Trabuzio, who's our associate producer of the network, and he's been guested on Warp 5 a couple times now, and he's guested on my show, Franchise Fatigue. He joined us to discuss the Godfather series, and that was a whole heck of a lot of fun.
He's been on Warp 5. He's been on The Edge, I mean. So he's been around. People know the voice when they hear it.
Yeah, he's been around. He's not quite the bicycle that you are, but
no, but not you. Not many people can be like me.
No.
It takes a lot of work.
No, nobody can be quite like Patrick. So, anyways, yes. Speaking of Patrick, we might have to get the bleepers ready for this podcast here. So,
I was trying to figure out how we're going to talk about this without. How are we going to talk about this?
Yeah, we'll do our best. So, if anybody's not seen Spaceballs, it's a spoof of Star Wars
and a whole lot of other stuff.
Directed by Mel Brooks, and it's one of those classic 80s genre movies where they throw everything in the kitchen sink in the movie, and they're just throwing jokes at you constantly. Some of them hit, some of them miss, but I think Spaceballs is one of the better ones because of how rapid they're throwing the jokes at you, and some of them are quite subtle. And honestly, Patrick, on this watch, there was a little joke that I caught that I'd never caught before on a different level. So it was right at the beginning when they were doing the scrawl, like the word scroll like they did on Star Wars. And I, as a kid, and like, I don't know when the last time was that I saw Spaceballs, I just thought it was funny that they picked Chapter 11 because, Star Wars was Episode 4, Episode 5, Episode 6 was the original trilogy, and that's all that was out when Spaceballs came out. But then, funny out of funny, Chapter 11 is what you call it when you declare bankruptcy, right? And I never caught that and didn't realize it until now. So there was a whole new joke that I found. At first I thought they just picked a funny number because episode 4, but no, chapter 11 is because of bankruptcy. So I thought that was kind of funny. So
I didn't catch that until you said it.
Until you said it, yes. So, that's good. That's a subtle joke. So
yeah, as you were explaining it, I realized you were talking about bankruptcy, but I didn't catch it reading it. What I did find interesting at the end of that scroll was, if you can read this, you don't need glasses.
Yeah.
Except I wasn't wearing mine, and I could read it.
That's funny. So you don't need them then, because Mel Brooks told you so.
Apparently not. My doctors are all wrong.
No, Mel Brooks is king. So I've seen this movie, I don't know how many times. We watched this way too young. Like, there's some bad language in this movie, and as I've said on other podcasts, like, I saw this movie before I saw Alien. So that whole ending scene in the diner just scared the crap out of me as a kid. Right? The first time I saw it, I'm like, what the frick is going on here? Like, what is happening when that chest burster was coming out of that guy's thing? And it wasn't until much later that I caught the joke and what was going on. And then all of a sudden this thing starts dancing, and I'm just like, what am I watching? And it really, really scared me when I was a kid, that scene. So, because I hadn't seen Alien yet. But we watched it way too young. But Patrick, this is your first time watch, so I'm going to hand the mic to you. What did you think of Spaceballs?
I didn't laugh once.
You're lying.
I didn't laugh out loud once.
You are lying.
You want me to call my wife in?
Yes.
Hold on.
I don't believe you. This movie's too funny for you to not have been laughing. Oh my goodness, he's getting his wife. This is not good.
Please tell the listeners at home whether I laughed or not watching this movie.
No, not once.
Give her the headphones. I want to talk to her.
Not once.
Did you watch with him?
Yes, I did the entire time, and I was laughing. But he's horrible.
What is wrong with him? Like, this is grounds for divorce.
There's something
you realize.
seriously wrong with him. I don't know, because he likes all the other movies and the jokes on it, and he likes Galaxy Quest. Yes, you do. So if you like that, you should like this.
Not the same.
It is. It's the same type of comedy.
I'm talking to Brandon, not me.
Okay, whatever.
So let me get this straight. Is he the kind of guy that likes to say, I don't like comedies, and does his best to not laugh during comedies?
No, he's not. He's really not. He's really not. I don't know what it is with this one. I really don't.
Okay, well, pass the headphones back to Patrick. I'm going to have to... I'm so disappointed by this. What a way to end our run of Warp 5.
I didn't dislike the movie. I just didn't laugh.
Well, oh, my goodness.
I thought...
but you laughed out loud to the court jester.
I did!
And...
I laughed heavily.
Frankenstein.
I laughed heavily at the court jester.
This is the worst punchline to our long-running joke of you haven't seen Spaceballs. This is the worst punchline ever.
I was sure I was going to like it. I was being yelled at for 2 days by friends on how we can't be friends till I watch it.
See? I wasn't crazy, though.
No, you're not. I think the world is crazy.
Now you're going to lose friends because you don't think Spaceballs funny.
At all. No,
I'm so glad. I'm glad we're ending this podcast.
I found a lot of things in the movie clever. I just not laugh out loud funny.
Okay, I will tell you, watching this again, I will tell you the couple of moments where I still laugh out loud because I think it's hilarious. Okay? So, the first thing that I think is the most funny is the beeps, the creeps, and the sweeps.
I enjoyed that because he does the sounds, and he's the guy from Police Academy, right?
Yes.
So I enjoyed that, but I didn't laugh.
The line, that's not all he's lost. It's just that's the funniest line in the movie to me.
That's not all that he's lost. Which part is that?
We've lost the bleeps, the creeps, and the sweeps.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Okay. Yeah, it was clever.
The sweeps, and the creeps.
Yeah.
That's not all he's lost.
Yeah, it's clever.
Okay, so I don't know. I think that's hilarious. The other one, right after the, most of it's with Lord Helmet, though, right? The other, right after the, you're looking at now, right?
I did find that funny. I just didn't laugh when they were like waving their arms and.
But he was so confused at the end. He's like, "Go find them. Where? Who?" And he's like, and the mask just slams down. The Mr. Coffee thing when he's like, hot, too hot.
Yeah, I guess. I actually found when he was at the Mr. Coffee machine funnier.
Funnier? Okay.
Like when he thought that was the radar, and then he's trying to play it off like, of course I want coffee. Everyone knows I drink coffee when I look at my radar.
Of course we do, sir. Did you see the guy screw up and he like moved his hands too
Grabs
early?
his groin.
He goes too early, the guy off the screen. Also during the beeps, like the jamming scene, we're about to be jammed, when the camera hits him and breaks the fourth wall. I love when they break the fourth wall in this movie.
I was going to mention that, actually. I found it to be a very clever use of the fourth wall in this movie.
Yes, I thought that was brilliant. When he gets hit by the camera, like the camera comes too close to him and knocks him over.
Or when he
kills the camera guy, right?
yeah.
And he's
Well,
like,
that was him.
He did it.
He did. What?
So there's that, and then they broke the fourth wall with the drummer, Mega made, doom, 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 doom.
Yes.
Right? Because you think it's just the score, and then there's like actually a drummer there. So the breaking of the fourth wall I thought was brilliant, because I hadn't seen that in a movie before.
I was going to say that this might be one of the earlier uses of that, right?
I don't see it very often.
Like Daredevil now does it. Deadpool now does it, but...
Oh, do they? I haven't seen Deadpool. So.
The Deadpool movies, but even the comic book is known for breaking the fourth wall. Like, that's its gimmick, you know?
And when he's doing right after the Mr. Coffee, when he's like, everybody got that? He like looks at
he looks at the camera. That's the first time I noticed they were going to be breaking the fourth wall a bunch in this movie.
Yeah. What else? Ludicrous speed gets me every time, right? When he's like...
We may have lost Brandon now. He might...
My brains are going into my feet. I don't know. That line just gets me. I don't know. Anyways, I'm disappointed. Well, that's our movie night.
We're not done.
Oh, okay. So.
It's not that I hated the movie. I'm not going to watch it again anytime soon, but I didn't hate the movie.
Okay, well, so tell me... well, I don't know what to talk about then. What the hell do we talk about?
I don't know. I guess maybe if I had seen it when I was younger, some of these jokes would hit more.
Okay.
You know, just calling everyone a-holes.
Okay.
Probably would have been funnier as a kid.
The a-hole line still cracks me up, too. He's like, keep firing, a-hole.
Yeah, I thought, okay. But it was like the fifth time he used a-hole, and who is he? He's an a-hole. No, what's his name? A-hole, sir. Like
Major a-hole.
Yeah,
a-hole.
Private first class a-hole.
Yes.
Like, I guess, again, if I saw it younger, maybe I would have laughed. And then I do feel like movies like these, you still laugh at them later in life if you saw them early. But if you see them later, it doesn't hold the same weight.
So what I need to do is go back in time.
Right.
Introduce this to baby Patrick.
Yes.
Yes. And then
I won't be this miserable in life.
Probably not.
I did enjoy the breaking of the fourth wall. Those scenes were good. Mm-hmm. Yogurt was cool.
A couple Star Trek references. The Vulcan neck pinch. And
the Vulcan neck pinch was beaming. He's like, that's not where you do it. Not here. So I did find these scenes funny. I didn't laugh. Like everyone, part of the problem here too is everybody made this out to be the funniest movie that's ever been made.
It is.
But that's the problem. You're never going to live up to what you guys all made it out to be for me. I was expecting to be peeing my pants from start to finish.
Okay, so you're blaming me?
No, all of you. You should have heard the people at my house the last 2 days.
Yeah.
My buddy Drew and my buddy Brian went on, both of them, no less than an hour.
On how good it was?
But the other problem was they also said every line that was funny.
Okay. Oh, did they?
Yes, they all told me Brian and my wife were doing the whole merchandise scene. They did the whole... your sports is as big as my sports. Like I heard all these lines out of context.
Spaceballs, the flamethrower.
Yeah, like they did the lunchbox. They did the lunchbox like 7 times. I was expecting this great, funny scene with a lunchbox, and it wasn't that great.
Yeah. Well, so I blame your wife.
It was partly her, partly Drew, partly Brian.
Because like I sent you a couple of like small gifs and whatnot, but those are like really small snippets that you can't really.
Yeah, like the combing the desert or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did like that line. When he's like, "Do you think we're taking this too literally?" He said, "Comb the desert. That's what we're doing." Mm-hmm. That was clever, but I don't know. I think I just heard too many of the lines in the last 2 frickin' days because people couldn't believe I hadn't seen it.
Well, you see, now I blame you because you should have seen it by now. Then.
Well, that's probably true, but I didn't.
Okay, what are we gonna do, Patrick? What do we do about this?
What, you want me to go back in time and make it funny for me?
Yeah.
I have to forget the whole movie.
I'll have to get the yes. Well, how do we do that?
I'm completely unsure of how to do that.
Ludicrous speed. Go.
That was all right, and then they turned plaid. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like John Candy as much as I thought I was going to.
Oh, really? I love John Candy.
No, I mean, not that I dislike John Candy. I just didn't like the morgue. A morgue? He's a morgue. Mog, whatever. Barf. Bartholomew. That was a cool scene where I kind of almost chuckled. Where he's like, "Are you getting married? No? Then get out of here."
Kind of almost chuckled.
Yeah, I mean, that's as close as it got. I smirked a bunch.
That's definitely the name of the episode. Kind of almost chuckled. What about Pizza the Hut?
What a gross character. And then the robots trying to eat him?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand it.
I don't know. Neither do I. But it's just,
I don't want pizza ever again. And who played Pizza the Hut?
It was Dom DeLuise.
Really?
Yeah.
That poor guy had to get in that outfit.
Probably not much of an outfit. Like, the mouth was all, like, motorized and not moving very well.
You can see his eyes back there, right?
Yeah.
And all this stuff, his goopy's falling off of him. Ooh. He was gross. I don't know. I liked Dot Matrix.
Joan Rivers?
Yeah, but she was just the voice, not the body.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that she was, like, on roller skates or whatever. Like,
I think she was in that because, like...
Well, it says here, Lorraine Yarnell Jansen, Dot Matrix as Lorraine Yarnell.
Okay. What do you want, IMDb?
Yep.
Okay.
Which I just found out is owned by Amazon.
Is it?
Yep.
Don't they own everything?
Yes. And then Joan Rivers, Dot Matrix voice.
Yes.
John Hunt.
Because the
Hunt.
Dot Matrix kind of looks like Joan Rivers, though.
It does. It's modeled like after her face.
Yeah. Dot Matrix, it's a printer?
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Like, if you show someone new that... Like, I knew what a Dot Matrix was. I understand what the joke was there.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, kids today would never even understand half these jokes.
Yes, some of them are timely.
Yeah, they're so 1987 specific.
Yeah.
Like, the advance, I thought that was clever. Oh, no, with the advances in home theater, they get the movie before it's finished being made.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward. No, never show that part again.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was clever.
Yeah, because I don't know, like...
You can talk. Go ahead. Would you like me to pretend I laughed at some of this?
Yes.
Would that make it
rather
better?
you lied to me and made me feel better for our last episode of Warp 5. Well, the whole goal of this was to share movies and, talk like we were talking over a piece of pizza, and I guess we're not going to do pizza. So, at least you're laughing in the podcast.
I didn't hate it. I just didn't laugh.
Okay. And you'll never see it again?
No, I'll probably watch it again one day.
Like tomorrow?
No, probably not.
Probably not tomorrow. Like today?
No.
No. Okay.
I just finished it leading into this.
I know. You leave it to the last minute all the time. It's so
This one I
stressful
did on
podcasting
purpose.
with you. Did you?
Yeah, because I didn't want to write notes. I want.
That's funny. Did you watch it with your kid?
No, they were in the other room playing.
Yeah.
But I watched it with my wife.
Yeah.
As
And
you
she
heard.
liked it?
She loves that movie.
Get her on the podcast.
She likes that better than Star Wars.
Fair.
So does my buddy Brian.
That's fair.
I don't know. I definitely like Star Wars. We can't be friends. Forget this. That's fair.
I can't.
That's not fair at all.
I can't believe that they never did a sequel to this, honestly.
Okay, I found those parts interesting. Like, I don't want to say funny because people are going to say, well, you said you didn't laugh. But I don't always laugh at things I find funny.
Right.
Okay, so that was a scene Well, I hope we meet again, God willing, in the sequel, Spaceballs 2, In Search of the Money.
For more money.
You know, I thought that was clever.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there wasn't the number 2 with how all of you rave about this thing.
I know, me too. I'm surprised there was never a sequel. Or a prequel.
Something. There was only a making of.
Mm-hmm. That's about it. La La Land Records released a complete score to this, and it was like the 19th anniversary edition. And like they made a big deal on it. That was the 19th.
A 19th?
Yeah.
That's clever.
So, just as another funny thing. So,
I actually outwardly groaned for the alien scene. I was like, oh.
Hello, my
aliens
baby.
too. But see, now that's another problem though, because I had already seen that scene, like over the years.
Okay.
You know, just like on other videos or something.
Oh, okay.
So I once that started, I knew, oh, this is where that scene's from.
Okay. Well.
Did I ruin your life? Is that what happened here?
Yeah. How would you rate this movie?
I'm sorry.
I'm so glad I'm ending this podcast.
So am I. You think it's fair that this is better than Star Wars?
I didn't say it was better.
No, you said it's fair. That's bad enough.
What would you rate it?
A 3.
That's not bad.
3 out of 5.
I gave it a 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I'd laughed outwardly, I would have given it a 4.
So, next time your wife needs to tickle you while it's watching?
Something has to happen because that didn't work.
Okay, well, bad comedies from the late 80s are not all we've been discussing here on the network this week. So I guess take a listen to this clip and see what else you may have missed elsewhere on Trek FM. That was a better discussion.
Previously on Trek.fm. To the journey!
And the
That's all I could think about with that one.
This is the Seinfeld in Space episode.
I keep waiting for Elaine to show up.
I'm trying to think of what Jerry Seinfeld would say in Jerry Seinfeld's tone of voice inside this episode. Can you do a good Jerry Seinfeld?
Oh, good grief, no. Not even close.
I'm trying to think how I would approach doing a Jerry Seinfeld impersonation. It's not coming to me. He's got that super high-pitched da-da-da-da-da kind of voice.
Well, that you did really well, the da-da-da-da-da. So, yeah, there you go.
Why don't they just warp out of here?
Earl Grey.
Time travel and alternate timelines.
Oh my gosh.
Unacceptable selection. Please try
Unacceptable
again.
selection?
Does this fit
No,
your
I'm
original definition of how you define a villain,
No.
Justin?
Possibly not.
Okay, but continue.
Let me. Okay.
Literary Treks.
The Antares Maelstrom is mentioned by Khan in The Wrath of Khan. He's got his whole big monologue when he's vowing vengeance on James T. Kirk, I'll chase him around the Antares Maelstrom and the ruins of Nivea, and moons. So what is the Antares Maelstrom? To my surprise, no one had ever actually written a book or a comic book about the Antares Maelstrom, which Khan famously name checks.
Standard Orbit.
He even has another line like, "You're a doctor." Like he tells his doctor, I'm like, that is so original series.
Oh, love it.
Like if you, I'm telling you guys, if you have not seen this episode, you will see Star Trek all over it.
And that's what else is happening on Trek.fm.
We still could have had a good discussion.
I think we did have a good discussion. Is there more we need to talk about? Did I miss something?
I don't know.
I think we covered it. That's fine with me.
Ooh, okay. Check out all these shows and join the conversation about your favorite corner of the Star Trek universe and beyond. You'll find us wherever you get your podcast. If you're an Apple user, be sure to hit the subscribe button in Apple Podcasts and iPhone, iPad, or Apple TV, or the desktop iTunes app to get the latest episodes as soon as they are published. And please leave a star rating or written review. If you're not an Apple user, we've got you covered as well. You can find our shows on Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Windows Phone, and most third-party apps, and you can stream and download the MP3 file from our website or grab the RSS link.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's show, and there are many ways for you to do that. The best place to join in the larger conversation is the Babel Conference, our listeners group on Facebook. Just type Babel, that's Babel, into the search field on Facebook, and it should come right up. If you'd like to send us an email, you can use the form on our website at trek.fm/contact. Choose to send to a show and select Warp 5. That will come right to us. You can also find the network on Twitter at TrekFM and on Facebook at facebook.com/TrekFM. Patrick, where can people find you when you're not entangling your Schwartz with mine?
Oh, man, I try and do that as little as possible. You end up having to put your knee on mine and push. It's just a nightmare.
I was surprised to see that your Schwartz was as big as mine.
My Schwartz is as big as yours. It may even be slightly larger.
No.
I'm the up, you're the down. You don't remember that part of the movie?
I do.
I'm the up, you're the down.
Okay.
Each Schwartz has a side.
Yeah. I'm offended.
What? Okay. You can find me on Twitter at MagicDrop5. There's no spaces, and the 5 is a digit. You can also find me popping in on the Babel Conference once in a while. And you can find me on this network with my good friend Amy Nelson on The Edge. The last place you can find me is on the United Federation of Podcasts, where I am going to be releasing a podcast called Mickey's Marvels, where we'll do deep dives into Disney movies, Chris Tribuzio and I, and we will be covering some of the new content coming on the Disney Plus app, like Mandalorian, if Brandon doesn't hate me too much to do that still. But
I do.
Well, this is maybe I don't want you on. You think it's fair to say this movie was better than Star Wars? Maybe you're not the right person. So.
Fine, I take it back.
But those are the places you can find me, and that's it. So, Brandon, where can people find you when I'm not destroying your whole life view?
Oh, man, I'm so sad about this, but you can not find me anywhere because my life view has been destroyed from here on out. But I'm on Twitter at Brandon-Mutala. You can find me here on the network with The Line, which is all about the forthcoming Star Trek Picard show with my friends Justin and Chrissy. You can find me on the Fandom Podcast Network with Good Evening and Alfred Hitchcock podcast with my friends Chris and Tom. Once a month, we cover a Hitchcock film, and then every other week, my friend my friend Zach and I, we have a show called Franchise Fatigue, where we cover movies in a franchise and their sequels and their remakes. So that's those 3 podcasts. That's all I'm going to be doing. So I'm dropping down to the bare bones here.
Yeah, when 3 is the bare bones, it means you've been doing way too many.
Yes, it has. So, and I tell you, I'm looking forward to it because podcast is a lot of work, and I'm ready to just pull back a bit.
Yeah, I can see that. I understand that.
I'm not doing Patreon stuff here anymore. I kind of pulled back from there as well, and so
it's a lot of work. It is. I mean, the listeners think we just come on here, talk for an hour, and leave, but there's pre-work, post-work, and
posting.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on before and after an episode to make the episodes happen, and it's time-consuming.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've been doing Enterprise now for 3 years, so that's a long time to talk about Enterprise. It's almost as long as the show was airing.
Yeah, you've had about 3 times as many episodes as the show had.
Yeah. No, not 3 times. So,
twice.
More than the show, though.
No, you definitely had more.
Not
because
twice.
They only played. They had 100 and something episodes. How many were you
97. On? I've only been on for 110. Right?
Oh, okay.
So, right, but there's
right because you were every other week for a while, and then before we went every week, and then back to every other week again. So
yeah,
if you were on, if you would have been doing every week, you would have doubled their number.
Yes, yeah.
But
had I been on every week, I probably would have left the show a little while longer ago.
Probably.
So,
but if you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/TrekFM. That's patreon.com/TrekFM. Let's get all the details. Perks include early access to episodes, exclusive content, producer credits, and more. Available through our special patrons website, Patron Zone. It requires a great deal of money to produce, host, and distribute these shows each month. We really appreciate any support you can give us and hope you'll join the team. Again, you'll find all the details at patreon.com/TrekFM.
And at this time, we'd like to thank our wonderful associate producers. And did you know something, Patrick? Did you know that all of them are Spaceballs?
Are they?
All of them are wonderful, glorious Spaceballs.
None of them live on the Oh man, what's the other planet where they're trying to suck the
Druidia.
air out of? Druidia? No, none of them are Druidians?
No, these guys are all Spaceballs. Norman C. Lau, Floyd Dorsey, Mike Morrison, Tim Cooper, Justin Ozer, Mark Flessa, Chris Tribuzio, and Jim McMahon. All of them are wonderful, wonderful associate producers.
Spaceballs.
Yeah. And Spaceballs. And you're a Spaceballs too. You know
You're
who
such
you are?
a Spaceball. Oh,
You're
my.
the bearded lady.
I could be.
Yeah.
I could be. Or the bear that gets in the pot at the end. That was funny.
No, that's me.
Okay, you're the bear?
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, that's me. So.
And then the bad reference to Planet of the Apes happens after that.
Bad reference? That is a brilliant reference.
Yeah, I guess. I'm never mind. We're gonna leave that part out. I'm just gonna
I
ruin your
hadn't
life.
seen Planet of the Apes when I first saw this movie either.
I still
so-
haven't.
What?
Yeah, I'm not a.
Coming soon to Warp 5. 5 more movie nights as we cover the original Planet of the Apes series.
Yeah, I never watched them. I mean, I know the reference too, so.
Oh my goodness. Patrick. No, that's okay. I mean, like, you can't watch everything. It's just that Planet of the Apes is so good.
And it's so classic. I should have seen it.
That's one movie that I knew the ending of before, partly because of Spaceballs, right? But I wish I didn't, because that, I think, is the greatest ending in cinema history.
Yeah, I probably know the ending already, right? Because I watched Spaceballs, and everyone knows the ending by now in life.
Right.
It's not really a spoiler when the movie's 40 years old or whatever it is at this point.
No, it's 50 now.
Is it 50 already?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it was 1969 that it came out. But, like, just to imagine being there and seeing for the first time the Statue of Liberty and realizing that they were on Earth the whole time.
Right. Well, what's odd is my wife's never seen it either.
How many people did I just spoil it for that are listening to Warp 5?
Well, I spoiled it for my wife just before,
Yeah.
like an hour ago, because I'm like, you know what they're making fun of, right? And she's like, well, Princess Bride. I go, not the wedding scene. They're making fun of Planet of the Apes. And she's like, oh, that was on Earth?
Mm. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Anyways, we got one more episode coming for you guys. We have invited as many of the previous hosts on as we can, and we're trying to arrange a time, and we're going to have like a massive round table. I don't think everybody will be able to make it, but we're going to get as many as we can. And I think it'll be kind of cool. So just as one last hurrah for us.
And hopefully by then Brandon will have his light back and he won't be so miserable with me.
No, that'll never go away. You can go find another network for Mickey's Marvels.
Wow, rough.
I'm kidding. That was mean. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
Can you forgive me? And remember, you can't be afraid of the wind.
Or the Swartz.
Or the Schwartz.